Hello, everyone. I'm Melissa McAllister, and you're listening to the Melissa M.A.D.E Show. Now, for decades, I've dedicated myself to helping women break the cycle of dieting, navigate through all the fads, and change their lives through my nutrition coaching. Now, each week, I'm going to talk about everything from deep nutrition, mindset, self-care, the ideal workout routine, tips on how and why to implement intermittent fasting in your life, my favorite recipes that are not only crowd pleasers, but they're actually healthy for you, and so much more. Now, with small and consistent changes, you can defy aging while living a happier, healthier, and more heart-filled life. I'm so excited to show you it's possible with the right strategies that are so simple to adopt. Hello, and welcome to the Melissa M.A.D.E Show. So today I want to talk to you about healthy travel. So I get a lot of requests of people when they are going to travel or when they're going out to a restaurant, which is another podcast I will do. They always ask, how do you, not come back from a trip feeling horribly, emotionally and physically. And I used to be there. It's funny. I am the biggest oxymoron because I am the largest homebody on the planet. But at the same time, I love to travel. So I'm either at home or I'm somewhere in a different country, one of the two extremes. And so Mick and I have been avid travelers. Avid travelers. My passport it's fun. Every time I go through customs, they have to sit there and they have to flip through my pages to try to find a space to put in the, I literally probably have room for 2 more. And then I'm going to have to either get an extension or go ahead and get a new passport. And I feel very blessed for that, to be honest. I love traveling the world. I love meeting people. I love different cultures. And it's just, my goal is to see every corner of this world before I leave this place. So I'm working hard at it, but I've been able to maintain my health during that. And I remember, though, that wasn't always the case. There was one time that Mick and I went on a cruise together. And I think it was my first cruise. Well, my first cruise as an adult where you could drink alcohol. And I'm not kidding you. It was a 7-day cruise. And I came back 13 pounds heavier. 13 pounds. Now, of course, that's not all fat. It's a good amount of fat, but it wasn't all fat. It was water retention. It was inflammation, all that good stuff, because we not only went on the cruise, but we also flew. So it was just, it's a lot on the body to do that. So I was there. I understand. And I felt terrible for a really long time, not just physically, but, my mindset was terrible too. Like, how could you do that to yourself? So I want to give you some healthy tips that I've adopted over the years that have really helped me enjoy where I go, enjoy the culture, enjoy the food, enjoy the experience, not feel like I'm quote unquote being deprived by any means. And at the same time, I don't come home going, man, I've got some work to do. Was that even worth it? Yada, yada, yada. So we're going to first start off by talking about choosing the resort that you go to, or even if you decide to do a cruise, if you look at different cruises or look at different resorts, it's really important that you look for the things that you want, because the resorts are everywhere, and some of them specialize more in certain areas than others. And so if you want to have a healthy experience, you want to be looking for a resort that has what you're looking for. And first and foremost, maybe your idea of, enjoying where you are and exercising and all that stuff is to be at a place that's safe, really safe in that particular area, because you want to get out of the resort and you want to walk around. Maybe you want to walk along the beach, for a mile or 2, or you want to get out of the resort and walk the streets. So you want to check and see if where you're going is safe for you to leave the resort. Now, from all my experiences, I've never been to a resort itself that hasn't been safe. But I have gone to some resorts where right when you check in, they recommend that you don't leave the premises. So that's enough for me to go, okay, I'm going to stay put. And if you want to go hiking, if you want to do all those things, then check the environment of the resort. That's really, really important. And then to also kind of look at the food, pull up some of the menus and look to see if there are healthier options for you. And we're going to go into food just a little bit more, obviously. But when you're looking for that resort, not only look at, they've got 5 restaurants, that's great, but what do these restaurants serve? If they've got like an Asian restaurant, but everything is deep fried, that may not be the resort for you. If you're looking for something that's more, fresh caught fish versus, fish sticks, you want to look at those kind of details. How about a gym? Is a gym important to you? It is to me. Do I go to the gym every single day? No, definitely not the day that I show up. Usually the full days that I'm there, the days that I leave, sometimes not, but I want that option. And there are enough resorts out there that you will find a resort that has a gym that fits your needs. If you don't want to run on the beach because you don't feel safe or it's just too hot and humid, but you love to run, you can find a gym that has, a bunch of treadmills for you. Or if you've been on a strength training kick and you're going to be gone for 7 days and you want to continue that, look for a gym that has some heavy weights. Do your due diligence and look for that kind of stuff, because they're proud. If they have a gym, they're proud of it. It'll be on the website. And so you can clearly see pictures of it and go, this is perfect for me. So look for that as well. Now let's move into when you actually fly. So there is studies that have been shown that fasting while you fly, especially long distance. So I'm talking about, combating jet lag here. My good friend and I, Dr. Lauren, went to the Maldives, and then we did a quick stop into Dubai. And she's a researcher just like me. And she's also a nerd. I love to travel with her, but she shows up and she's like, we have to drink a boatload of water during this flight. And she had those little things that you stick in your ear that illuminate to give you that, to fix your circadian rhythm. So you actually feel like you're getting daylight when it's dark outside. She had these eye shades, all this crazy stuff. But she made me drink so much water. I almost got mad at her. That poor flight attendant, every single time that she passed us, Lauren was like, more water. And she'd hand it to me. She'd say, drink up. And I just would roll my eyes because I felt like I was in the bathroom more than I was in my seat. But I am telling you, her and I experienced 0 jet lag. It was weird. 0. I mean, it's literally across the world. And we experienced 0 jet lag. But anyway, studies show that if you fast while you're on your flight, your chances of jet lag are severely diminished. Now, we didn't fast on that flight because I'll be honest with you, it was Emirates and it was a business class flight and they have really good food. Have you flown Emirates before? Tell me below. It's an exceptional experience. And so I didn't want to miss out on their great food. And so we did not fast, but if it was, I'm pretty loyal to American Airlines because I live in Dallas, Fort Worth, which is the home base. So I have a really good standing with American. Great airline, but not the greatest food. So I really wouldn't be too remiss if I was going to do a long flight on American, because the food's just really not that good anyway. So consider fasting. If you're doing a longer flight, you can fast. And as soon as you get to your destination, eat a meal as soon as it's around the time of a meal where you are now. And that will also really help reset your circadian rhythm. So your circadian rhythm is, it's very heavily influenced by obviously your sleep, but also your eating. And so if you can't really control your sleep too much, because, if you're not tired, you're not tired, you can control your eating, which will also help reset your circadian rhythm to where you're going or when you come home. So think about that. Either don't eat or really try to manipulate your sleep, but it's easier to manipulate your eating than it is your sleep. And that will make it so your jet lag is a lot less when you're traveling. So you can even look for flights that are overnight if you can sleep on a plane. I can't sleep on a plane if I'm upright. If I'm lucky enough to get, one of those seats that lay down, I can sleep like a baby. But if I'm upright, this body does not know how to fall asleep in an upright position. My husband, Mick, on the other hand, 15 minutes into the flight, I look over to my side and he's passed out. Some people can, some people can't. So that's also something to take into consideration. You don't want to take a 9-hour flight at night when you should be sleeping miserable because you can't go to sleep. You are the kind of person that's probably better flying during the day if you're in an upright seat. So think about that stuff as well, because health goes above just eating. You know, how is it going to disrupt your sleep? How is that jet lag going to handle? Is it going to screw up your vacation for 2 or 3 days, which totally sucks, you know, because what if it's only 7 days? You've just spent a third of it trying to recover from jet lag. So fasting really helps. And also thinking about when you schedule that flight is going to make a big difference as well. Weight gain. It can be so hard to avoid, especially when we're binge watching our favorite shows and getting invited to party after party. And it's frustrating when we're working really hard and everything seems to be going right, but yet that scale keeps creeping up and up. But I recently learned a really interesting fact about how weight gain works and the super simple ways that we can control it. So I was chatting with Tina Anderson. Now she's the founder of Just Thrive Probiotics, and you definitely want to check out the podcast that we did together. It's really good. She told me that when it comes to fat burning, you and I are basically at the mercy of 2 specific hunger hormones. Now stay with me. I promise this won't get too sciencey. Now these hormones, which are controlled by your gut, are responsible for switching off your fat storing and switching on your fat burning. Interesting, right? So when your gut can properly parent these hormones, your body literally absorbs less fat from the food you eat and burns the excess fat that you have. Yes, please and thank you. But thanks to our modern toxic world, it's way too easy for these hormones to misbehave and to kind of run amok. So when this happens, we end up choosing foods that we know are bad for us. We're eating more foods, even when we're not hungry. And we're making bad food choices because we think that it just might possibly boost our down mood. Now, that's why it is so important to support the health of your gut so that you get these hormones under control. Now, thanks to Tina, my go-to gut support is Just Thrive Probiotic. If you've been following me, you know I'm obsessed with gut health. Up to 80% of your immune system lives in your gut. So a healthy gut is truly the master key to staying resilient and feeling your best. And with Just Thrive Probiotic, I feel confident that I'm giving my body what it needs to stay strong and balance my hunger hormones so I can avoid unwanted pounds. I trust Just Thrive because their probiotic has more clinical research than anything else out there. You hear that? I love that it's vegan, it's non-GMO, it's gluten-free, it's dairy-free, and free from anything artificial. And it's even safe for kids. You can literally break open the capsule and sprinkle it onto any food or drink because Just Thrive strains are so resilient. They are all natural and do not even come alive until they get into your intestines. Now, seriously, I can mix it into smoothies or bake it into any recipe without losing the potency. Now, as a bonus, Just Thrive Probiotic can even support beautiful skin, better sleep, and a brighter mood. Just Thrive is my secret weapon for weight management. And right now, you can save 15% off their award-winning probiotic when you go to justthrivehealth.com and use the promo code MelissaMade at checkout. So I want to talk about when you pack. I think it's really important to pack snacks in your carry-on and also in your luggage. So for me, Mick and I frequent Mexico very, very often. In fact, we're kind of thinking we need to buy something there to live there part-time because we love Mexico. Living in Dallas, it's a very short flight. It's just a wonderful place. And so I always pack snacks in my actual suitcase and healthy snacks. So I'll do like dry roasted nuts. We'll do beef jerky. I do like Epic bars that are, like salmon sticks and all that stuff. You can even pack in your carry-on things like a couple of hard-boiled eggs. definitely some vegetables, and you can, consider some hummus in those packages or guacamole. Bring a bag of fruit in your carry-on, but I also, in my big bag, will bring, for me, Shakeology. So if you can bring some sort of like a meal replacement shake or a protein shake as well, that is so helpful, because now this is where it's a really tough decision when you travel to get all-inclusive or not. And I just want to give you some tough love here, only because I've been there myself. Here recently, Mick just broke his leg, and the next day we went to Mexico so he could just sit by a pool for a couple of days and not stand on it. Otherwise, if he's home, how many of you have partners like this? He feels like he has to do things, and I knew he wouldn't sit still. So he sat still for 3 days and really helped that healing process. But we got all inclusive that time. I overdid it. I know better. If anybody knows better, I do. And I overdid it. We got a lot of drinks by the pool. We ate 3 meals a day instead of just 2. It's human nature to try to get your money's worth, because all inclusive, in my experience, is not that cheap. And in fact, I kind of kept track of it. So this hotel that we went to, it's kind of a lot, but it was $150 a day per person. And I really tried to get $150 worth of alcohol and food in me every single day. And I failed miserably, but I tried, and that's terrible. I had way too many calories and way too much sugar trying to get my money's worth. And so I don't encourage all inclusive, because it's a waste of money if you're trying to do well. And it's a waste of energy. I mean, so much energy is wasted if you do get it, but yet you're trying to be good, because you've got waiters coming to you constantly at the bar asking you if you want something to drink. You're sitting at the restaurant, and you've got this all inclusive, so you might as well get the appetizer and the salad and the main dish and then the dessert and the after dinner drink and all that stuff, because you're trying to get your money's worth. I promise you save money by not doing all inclusive. So if you do as Mick and I try to do, we bring a bunch of snacks for the afternoon. So our routine is to get up in the morning, enjoy a beautiful sunrise, have some coffee together, and meander our way to the gym. I always ask, which is something you want to check with the resort as well, because it's important to me, how late do you serve breakfast? And some places stop at 10, some places stop at noon. So for me, I'm hoping that they still serve breakfast at least till 11, because Mick and I will meander to the gym around 9 o'clock and do a good workout. And then we'll go have breakfast, a really late breakfast, and get nice and full, lots of protein, lots of healthy fats, and get really full, and be full for, 3 to 4 hours. And that's when I will pull out some beef jerky, or we'll have some nuts, or I'll ask the resort. They're so accommodating. Will make a shake for me, a nice thick shake for me. And that will tide me over until dinner. And then Mick and I try to have dinner early, not only because we're old, but because, there's plenty of reasons. The restaurants aren't as crowded. You can always get your reservation. Like I always say, around 6 o'clock is when the sunsets are usually around that time. You'll be sitting and eating during a sunset, and you can take your time and have a nice leisurely dinner and be done around 7:30 or 8. And you've got plenty of time to digest some of that food as well. And you've only eaten 2 meals. And I guarantee you, neither of those 2, even if you get the nice stuff, because they upcharge you anyway, if you get the nice stuff in all inclusive, you're not going to spend $150. And you could have a nice glass of wine with dinner and maybe one drink by the pool, versus feeling like, you've always got to have a drink in your hand to get your money's worth. So I really want to encourage you, if you're trying to have a great time, enjoy all the food, but not overdo it. Don't give yourself that turmoil of all inclusive. It's too much, and it's too much, monetarily, and it's also too much on your body to be eating constantly and drinking constantly for that reason. So I'm not a big fan of all inclusive, and I haven't gotten it for years, but we just did, I think it was last month actually. And once again, it proved my point that it's not a good idea to do it. So consider not doing it, packing lots of snacks for you and your travel buddy, and have a late breakfast and an early dinner, and enjoy the experience and eat the good foods, the foods of the culture, what they recommend, share a dessert, I wanted to talk about alcohol too, because alcohol is not all created equal, definitely not all created equal. And so again, you're going on a trip and you want to, if there's a specialty drink they have, by all means get it, maybe share it. But you can't leave a place without the experience. And I totally get that. And I live that, but you also don't want to have 4 or 5 of them by the pool. So those big, depends on, I did a poll on my Instagram. Are you from the Hawaii side where it's called a lava flow, or on the, the Florida side where it's called a Miami Vice, where they mix the daiquiri and the pina colada together? I love those. They are a sugar shit bomb, but I love them, especially sitting by a pool. And I can sip one, I can enjoy one, but on all inclusive, I could do 5. That's terrible. So have those drinks, share them, have them once, enjoy them, have the experience, but don't overindulge. And think about the alcohol that you do have, that there's less sugar and alcohol put together and more just the alcohol. Like you could have like a Tito's and club soda with a lime, or you could have, a little bit of champagne, or a beautiful red wine with dinner, to have those alcohols that are a little less hard on the body, because alcohol is hard to metabolize anyway. And then you've got that sugar on top of it. It's just, you're going to wake up feeling yucky for sure. So think about that alcohol, enjoy it, but try not to have too much of the really, what's the word I'm looking for? The very crazy concoction type, and more the staples, and enjoy that, sip it, enjoy it, enjoy it, enjoy it. I do every single time. I don't think I've ever gone on vacation and been dry, ever. I want you to remember too, that it's just to have the mindset when you go traveling, to be better, but not to be perfect. So you could do the Melissa where you gain 13 pounds on a cruise, and regret it. I don't have any other word for it except for I still could have had a great time on that cruise. It was the first cruise I was ever on where they had a couple of those all-you-can-eat ice cream machines 24/7. I can't tell you how many ice cream cones I had. I didn't need to do that. I really could have limited it to 1 a day, right? So be better, but you don't have to be perfect. Don't, ward yourself away from that ice cream machine because, it's not good for you, but also at the same time, don't free for all it and tell yourself, I'm just going to have one. Oh, I'm just going to have another. Oh, I'll have one more. And before you know it, you've had 5 or 6 in a day. And that will really add up, and you'll have a price to pay when you get home. So that's really it. I really want to just let you know that in my experience, traveling is a very unique opportunity for you to try new things and to, mix up your lifestyle just a little bit, but you can still make better choices that keep you from having that, I'm just going to have the time of my life, and, I'll work on it when I get home. That all or nothing doesn't have to happen for you to leave that trip, to leave that vacation going, man, I had the time of my life. That was an incredible experience. And I didn't go too crazy. And maybe, listen to me, maybe you're the kind of person who only gets the 1 week a year, and 51 weeks out of the year, you are really damn good. I ain't gonna tell nobody, go do that. But if you do travel more often than once or maybe twice a year, then there have to be some sort of boundaries to make sure that, what you do doesn't upset that normal lifestyle too much, because you and I both know that when you come back from something where there's been a lot of binging, on bread, on alcohol, on sugar, you come back feeling really hungover for quite a few days, very puffy, very tired and lethargic. but the cravings are absolutely insane. And sometimes so insane that you're like, I just can't go back to work. I can't stay awake without the sugar and the caffeine, or, having a drink before I go to bed because you've spent a week overdoing it. So think about that. Enjoy, but don't overdo. On the opposite end of the spectrum, be good, but you don't have to be perfect. So look at the resorts in detail. Look at the gym, look at the area, look at the restaurants, and find the perfect place for you. There are resorts now, like Mick and I were looking in Punta Cana, and they have this one resort. It's a wellness resort, and they do a lot of things that encompass wellness. Like, they've got vitamin C showers and these diffusers in the rooms and all these really cool things. If you want to go that route, those are out there as well. But you can find your perfect resort that's going to help you have the time of your life, but also not have too much time of your life that you wake up that day, you got to go home and go, oh man, what did I just do? Keep in mind that fasting on a plane, if you have a long flight, has been proven to reduce your jet lag. Because if you can't control the sleep pattern right away, you can control the way you eat to get at least the eating back on your circadian rhythm so that you feel that less of that jet lag. Drink plenty of water and put light bulbs in your ears, according to Dr. Lauren. Oh yeah, she had these, I should have taken a picture of her. She was comical for sure. And you'll have to ask her if you know who I'm talking about. Dr. Lauren Fitzgerald. She's an amazing friend and a good person to follow. She's a functional medicine doctor and dancer. Not your typical doctor, but she is so educated on this kind of stuff. And you'll have to ask her if she felt like those little ear lights and stuff did her any good. Because I think I felt pretty good. And all I did was drink a ton of water on that flight, which is something I highly recommend. Bring snacks, lots of variety of healthier snacks that you can put in your carry-on if it's a longer flight, or in your suitcase. Most resorts that I go to, when I look for the resort, I check to see, is there a kitchenette? Do they have a blender? Because that's important to me. I'll make my own shake if there's a blender and ice, a piece of cake. And a lot of resorts too have little mini markets that you can go and, buy extra water. There's one in Mexico they have their own little garden and they've got fresh produce that you can buy. So I buy cucumbers and I buy carrots and I crunch on those throughout the day. So it's what you do before the trip that really set you up to be very successful during your trip, to have the time of your life without, compromising your health whatsoever for that week. And think about that alcohol. Again, I am not one to tell you not to enjoy the margarita in Mexico or the Miami Vice in Miami, or I'm trying to think of other Aperol. I had an Aperol Spritz with Shanti in Australia. It was delightful. I'm sure it's not from Australia, but whenever, you think of a specific drink, I think of Shanti, and it was lovely. So try it, but don't feel the need to overindulge in it. And if you do drink alcohol, pick the ones that are a little bit more, I'm doing air quotes right now, clean, and will give you less of that, almost, I want to say build up. If you have all that extra sugar and stuff with the alcohol, you're really going to start to feel it. And you won't feel your best, and you won't be full of energy to go to the amazing gym that you found because you did your due diligence when you went looking for a resort, and that gym inspires you to get a good workout in before you hang out by the beach all day and enjoy the sand, the sea, and the company. So that's it for traveling. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to me. You do you, boo, and go out there and see that world. But for those of you that have asked me, how do I stay healthy when I travel? Those are my tips for you. Now, remember, M.A.D.E stands for making a difference every day. I want you to wake up prepared, and I want you to go to bed proud. You guys have a great day. Wow, we've reached the end. But before I leave you, I'd love to hear from you. After all, it's not every day that someone reaches out and asks for your opinion. And to me, your opinion does matter. So please share this episode with anyone that you think needs to hear this message. And remember to rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. My name is Melissa McAllister. And until next time, thank you for being your own health advocate.